Buonasera ragazzi, bentornati allo Scombar. Io sono White Soul e questa sera ci rivediamo per poter continuare insieme di End of Glory. Questo punta e clicca made in Italy, tra l'altro, uscito mi pare l'anno scorso e che stiamo comunque portando avanti nelle nostre serate live qua allo Scombar. End of Glory, da quello che ho capito, comunque si presenta come un gioco in cui avremo a che fare con il mistero della scomparsa di una ragazza. E il protagonista è questo detective di nome Lazarus Bundy, che sarà anche affiancato da una ragazza di nome Alice che l'aiuterà in questa indagine. Nel frattempo passo direttamente, ecco, così ci muoviamo, ecco, eccoci qua. Allora, eravamo arrivati a buon punto, anche se siamo comunque all'inizio del gioco. Il gioco, per quello che abbiamo visto, si presenta molto lungo. E quindi vediamo dove arriviamo oggi. Mi pare che avevamo come missione un bel po' di roba da fare. Allora, Alice ci deve fare sapere, ci deve dare informazioni sulla fotografia che ci hanno spedito via posta. Vediamo. Dovevamo parlare con un tizio di nome Roger che non abbiamo trovato. Ok, mi serve un punto dove avere una buona visibilità. Che ne so, per vendere verosimile se stai, devo trovarlo. Ho bisogno di un cuore insanguinato, segui la ricetta di Tony. Sono cose in basso. Quindi, allora, abbiamo una ricetta, che sarebbe questa. Ci serve il macinato e il gusto esotico. L'uovo di gallina, sappiamo dove prenderlo. Vino dannato, il parmigiano doppio che so tra l'altro dove poterlo prendere. Zenzero della Floridia fresco. Boh, vediamo un po'. Intanto l'uovo, vediamo se lo possiamo rubare a questo chef. I dialoghi sono proprio pianissimi.
Incredible! This seems like the recipe for meatballs.
What nonsense. These are needed to create powder to help detect fingerprints at the crime scene.
Huh.
In
A
effetti è troppo
BBO
piano.
egg. That's curious. Our Betsy is a purebred.
But that's exactly the quality I need.
I don't think it would be a problem, but
And can you tell me anything about the Florida?
I can't help you.
Aren't you the gardener?
Confidentially speaking, Mr. Molesberg took it for granted after he saw my topiaries.
In short, you're totally useless. What can you tell me about this photo?
Well, well. They look like two tender lovebirds.
Did you consider this could be the kidnapper's face?
Gosh, you're right. Did you show the picture to the office?
Of course I did. Experienced forensic scientists are working on tracking the subject at this very... Stick around.
Allora, vediamo se l'uovo lo possiamo prendere. Ti pareva?
I was suddenly hungry. No mirrors. I was suddenly... A chicken house. In this case, there was just... The hatch didn't want to stay down. The spring was defective and tended to...
Quindi devo... Se uso lo
Use
sportel...
the lock that caused me a big problem. Now, buy me if you can.
Ok. E l'uovo è mio. Quindi il primo l'abbiamo preso.
And I didn't feel like leaving the diabolical creature locked up.
Ok, quindi ci siamo presi di nuovo il coso. Ok, andando uno l'abbiamo preso, un ingrediente. Vediamo cos'altro possiamo fare. Aspetta, analizziamo bene quello che abbiamo attorno. Questo che cos'è?
The sight could have fooled me, but surely not. The site could have.
Rosmarino.
There were the green and soft leaf. Could have stolen those keys just to kill some. Surely the need to do that would have. They contain grain and animals. I was fond of that. Another one of the gardeners. That flamingo.
Mm.
No matter how hard I tried. Man, the door was. Only a huge quantity.
Dai, intanto uno l'abbiamo preso. Allora, vediamo un po' dove possiamo prendere gli altri ingredienti. Io per quello che mi ricordo, nell'appartamento di Lars qualcosa dovrebbe esserci.
I had tried many times to recover that piece. First of all, it was too high. Secondly, the collapse.
Mm.
For months, I kept asking, and asked sooner or later.
Vediamo che sette le
I was
lettere.
sure I would find only bills and late payment. Sometimes it's better.
Barattolo.
Maybe.
No.
By rotating the gears. In that moment. No matter how hard.
No.
Maybe. Maybe.
Forse mi serve qualcos'altro. Andiamo di qua. Non è se nel frigorifero magari di là se c'è qualcosa.
Obviously, the fridge was empty.
Vuoto. Piano bar.
I didn't want anything from the bar. Blood and sweat after.
Ma un po' la voce di Lars lo dovremmo un pochino alzare. Giusto un po'. Allora. Vediamo un po'. Lungomare di Miami non c'era nulla. Nel quartier generale magari qua c'è qualcosa che ci può interessare.
I've had enough of this cup.
Magari Alice ci può aiutare.
Hi, Lars.
I need a quick search.
Of course. Do you need information on Eric Mole's...
Nah, much better than that. I need to know what Florida ginger looks like to prepare some.
Your investigative method?
I never back down from even.
Give me a second.
Vediamo.
Here you are. You should look for a little plant with wide leaves
Ah, so dove
look like
trovarli.
small artichoke.
Little plant, red leaves, shaped.
If you want to obtain its spice,
Excellent. You just saved me half a day. I can't stop staring.
all right then. Come on, lay out your hypothesis.
Judging by your behavior, I'd say that in your adolescence you spent your days wondering how it would be, for once, to find the courage to strike up a courage, however, that you never found, causing you to grow that rebellious lock. That was your way of declaring to the whole world you weren't the loser they thought.
I don't mean to brag, but at school, I was one of the most popular girls. I did well in almost all my... You let me down. Maybe you're not the great detective.
I'm just warming up. We'll catch up later, Alice.
Keep me posted.
Ok, quindi vabbè. Un altro indizio l'abbiamo avuto. Non penso che qui ci sia altra roba. Allora, questa pianta l'abbiamo vista. L'abbiamo vista sul lungomare. E dovrebbe essere...
Nothing. Still no
Eccola
trace.
lì. Qua.
Judging by the description I had, delicately I extracted the root. By grating it,
Perfetto. Allora,
the chef
macinate
wanted some
esotico.
exotic tasting meat that you can't find in the supermarket or butcher shop. What the hell did he expect?
Potrebbe essere il mangiare del cane.
Good way to enjoy some. Not a
Una carne dal gusto esotico. Non vedo quale altro tipo di cibo potrebbe essere. Vediamo. Vediamo.
The cook demanded exotic meat with a taste never tried. I couldn't pick it up with my bare.
Quindi è questo. Vediamo col
The
barattolo.
cook demanded.
Perfetto. Ok. Ora manca il vino dannato e il parmigiano. Però il parmigiano non riesco a capire come prenderlo. Il vino, il
The door was
vino.
locked, but I didn't mind.
Il vino. E se fosse ci fosse vino nella casa? La camera non mi ci fa entrare. No. Mm.
There was nothing else. The window was directly above the tycoons, offering me a good opportunity. Just had to come up with a method. My skin smells natural.
Ma un sistema per calarmi?
The be-
Allora, vediamo un po'. Vino e parmigiano DOP. Ma il punto è come cacchio lo prende il parmigiano. Questa è la radice, il baratto con la carne. Il panno. Andiamo di nuovo al vicolo, vediamo un po' se c'è qualcosa che manca. Andiamo nella spazzatura, magari troviamo qualcosa.
I preferred not to. No trace. Establishing how. Above the shelf, I could see a grater, an empty bottle turned on its side, and some heaps of garlic. Above the shelf, I could. Once I found the ingredients, it would become my culinary. About the ingredients, I have.
Why do I pay you?
That's not a problem since you don't.
Dwarf,
Tightwad,
insect,
skinflint,
dachshund,
piker.
garden.
I
I can go all day long.
I'll go back.
This mayonnaise.
Non è qua. Allora,
I never liked. Seemed like a vending machine.
allora, vediamo un po'. A casa di Lax posso credere che non c'è modo. Vediamo. Lui vino qua non ne ha. Il piano bar. Il carrello.
I didn't want anything. On the nightstand was a. Inside it was.
No.
I didn't want anything. I had tried many times to recover that piece of Parmesan to no avail. First of all, it was too high.
In alto.
Secondly,
In secondo
the
luogo
collapse
il
of the floor
crollo del
beneath made it
pavimento aveva reso
impossible to
impossibile
approach
avvicinare
anything to
qualunque
climb
tipo di
on.
mobile. vorrebbe qualcosa che lo prende da distanza.
I didn't. The lock I paint. I thought it would. Maybe. I didn't. Maybe. Or maybe. Spicken. Sometimes.
No, no, no.
No matter how hard. Was it real?
No, c'è qualcosa che mi sfugge. Allora, secondo me dobbiamo puntare tra questo e questo. Perché poi vediamo andando qua un'altra cosa. Che poi il vino anche, dov'è che lo procura il vino? Ah,
A real plague guy. Wait a second. Well, he seemed. And nothing else to. I already raided. Putting it in my pocket if needed. The fountain wasn't as limited.
ah, posso scendere in effetti nel tombino. Ah, ecco, forse c'è qualcosa qui. Vediamo.
Bottle of the worst fire. Bottle of. Was it really worth? Bottle of canned beans. Seriously. A rusty cage. I hope they.
Se magari...
I didn't under. I was all. Hey there, kid.
What do you want?
Smell you later. I was all up. Back there?
No.
I've had enough of this.
No, c'è qualcosa che non mi quadra.
Nothing. Still no trade. Typical seaside. The palm was marked. I had nothing else.
Niente, qua tutto inutile. Quindi mi viene da pensare che tutto è alla villa.
A small yacht was docked in front of on its side where the word. Hello, good man.
Yes?
Stick around.
Ma non posso sostituire questa chiave.
Didn't want to interfere with his job. He was still an armed man. My beloved badge. How much abuse and harassment. Was it really worth? Did that bomb bottle, at the very least? Did that bomb bottle really could, at the very least?
Ma vallo a capire.
The door was locked, but I didn't mind. Here, Bridget. Something in the look of that dog told me it wasn't was impossible to open the lock with my bare hands. One of the two keys already opened the lock I had in my pocket. The other was too ancient to match the... No matter how hard I tried. The dog bowl displayed the name. It was clearly... at least they didn't force you to wear a polka dot skirt, my friend. I didn't need to call Alice. I wondered what my... Anyway, I no longer needed to call. Just having to talk. Besides, by that time...
Whoop.
They contain grain and animal food. I was fond of that. Buzzing, threatening, potentially lethal. Better... Spick and span linen. The cart contained many... The window was just... I thought I could tie some clothes to the radiator, creating a handmade rope. The tycoon's room was directly underneath. On the other side, I had walked across a wooden board suspended in midair. I just had to take some more clothes. I couldn't get off the... I couldn't get off... I couldn't get off...
Ok, quindi abbiamo trovato il punto dove poter scendere. La frase di un antenato.
The man had an impressive tough. Guy had some... I looked at the picture. Where had I seen him? Wait, I'm starting to remember. What can you tell me about voodoo?
Ah, infatti, era Gabriel Knight, un easter egg su Gabriel Knight.
Count Manuel Cortez Mosberg. According to the plaque, it's that his line of succession had become extinct. Count Manuel Cortez. Count Manuel, but his line of Archbishop Mosberg da Molina, and there was more. It seemed that his love for food was second only. He even forged a motto about it. The love of the Lord must be experienced in this obsession of his, together with his size. I recalled the story told by the maid. Was this Molina perhaps the inspiration for Catherine's prank? I had just discovered the words the kid had used to scare the maid to death.
Ok, quindi questo ce l'ho completato, però mi mancano i due ingredienti. Dove trovo il vino e come prendo il coso, il...
I asked you for some ingredients. Could you help me?
Lo siento mucho. I don't... The vintage wine, though. Senor Mosberg has always...
Do you know where he stores them?
Fortunately, no. But you know who you should...
The gardener has vintage wine?
Actually, he shouldn't. As a matter... The point is that le gusta beber, so from time to time he nicks about...
In the shed, you said? Huh.
Oh, but he'll never let you in. He keeps the keys on his...
Don't worry. I have no intention... So the wine is in the shed?
Yes, senor. But as I
Ok,
said,
il vino è
the
nel capanno
gardener-
nel
I
retro.
agree.
Ok, quindi vuol dire devo prendere le cose.
Lo siento, señor, pero no puedo.
If I wanted to obtain access to that room, I'd have to... I know a plausible motto decreed by one of... I had to find a bloody heart to make them... And I had already found a way to put the prank into practice. I clubbed child's play.
Ok,
Let's make this...
Si puede.
e allora torniamo dal giardiniere.
There were the keys to the shed, hanging from the
Ecco.
belt of the... Asking him would be useless, given that they were covering up his little crime. There was an obstacle, though. The huge brim of his hat blocked my view. Maybe if I made him bend over... Hello, good man.
Yes?
Let's talk about
Vintage wine? Never seen?
Such a guilty conscience. Lupe was right. Never mind. The keys... Stick around.
Forse ho un'idea.
Doing that, I wouldn't have made the gardener bend. Doing that,
Devo posare la felpa e la telecamera un attimo.
Qualcosa per far calare.
those keys would give me access to the... problem was the gardener's giant hat that partly covered the... Maybe if I pushed the Doing that, I wouldn't have made... Maybe. I didn't understand. It was a long and rope... When I was... The Ramos had proven to be a good plan, so why not? Just then, I realized I hadn't set my alarm. I had to come...
Ah,
come
ok.
up with another...
Oi, Rin, ciao. Ciao, Rin. Scusami, poi alla fine non ho potuto più continuare a seguirti perché ero al lavoro. Ora come faccio a suonare il
come
telefono?
up with another way to make the phone ring.
Così fammi squillare il telefono. Devo dire ad Alice di farmelo squillare.
I didn't want to leave without my cell phone. I needed to do something.
E come lo faccio squillare il telefono adesso?
Hello, good man.
Yes?
Stick around. Doing that?
Ah, quale stai
No matter how
vedendo?
hard I tried, I couldn't see it.
Ah, forse c'è la maratona ormai tutti i giovedì su cosa? Su Italia 1, il terzo, sì, il prigioniero di Azkaban. Io ho iniziato a leggere La Camera dei Segreti ieri. Forse c'è qualche telefono in casa. Infatti.
Good idea. I dialed the number. Well, it was ringing. Now that the gardener was bent over, I could clearly... People should
Presa.
really add velvet... Hey, you know what? I guess I lost my phone in that pile of
L'unico
leaves.
Harry Potter che ti fa impazzire? Ah, ok.
Freaked me out with that damn vibration.
È
I
bello,
thought it
l'ho
was a
visto,
mole
cioè,
attack.
è tra uno dei miei preferiti, sinceramente parlando. Tanto ai tempi l'avevo visto anche al cinema. Secondo me tutta la parte quando scendono dentro il platano picchiatore è la parte più bella. Allora, ho ripreso il cellulare. Adesso possiamo aprire il capanno.
Hey, not bad at all.
Uh,
Toilet in the same room as the
Vediamo che
bed?
cosa possiamo trovare.
Interesting idea. And there was the reason for my raid.
Allora,
I didn't want to
frigorifero.
rummage through that man's fridge.
Questo sì.
That glow stick was...
Ecco come recupereremo il formaggio.
Fortunately, it was retractable, so I managed to...
Perfetto. Ok. Poi, cumulo di sassi.
Pebbles and dust. The
Casse.
boxes were stacked.
Ecco il vino. Perfetto. Oh, il vino d'annata l'abbiamo preso. Manca l'ultimo, il parmigiano DOP, e sappiamo anche come prenderlo. Scaffale alto.
The shears were inviting, but I would have felt like a worm depriving the gardener of his. Nah, who am I kidding? I didn't steal them only because they were all rusty. That rope might have been useful if it wasn't rotten from its first to last fiber.
Mm.
I'd have picked up the sprayer if it didn't contain a strange and probably toxic. I don't know why. I'd have picked up the sprayer. Flea bitten, the only
Penso che qua dentro non c'è altro da prendere.
rope a stat. Why not?
Cosa ha preso? Ah, ho la catena. Ok. Ma poi quante scene belle ci sono. Il volo con fiero becco, la braccia tra Lupin e Sirius Black, la scena dei 100 del senatore. Sì, sì, sì. No, ma è bello, secondo me. Poi tutta la parte che poi loro viaggiano nel tempo, che ritornano indietro, Hermione ed Harry, è fantastica, cioè proprio si ricollega alle scene precedenti. Infatti sono molto curioso di leggere il libro proprio per questo motivo, vedere anche le differenze tra il film e le cose, e l'opera. Allora, andiamo alla cosa. Andiamo a casa di Lars. Adesso usiamo l'attacco col parmigiano
Being
penzolante.
very careful.
Voilà, ecco qua. Perfetto, abbiamo tutti gli ingredienti.
I collected all the necessary ingredients for my brief excursion. Now I could start the actual preparation. My suit.
Quindi torniamo al vicolo.
I'll go back.
This man.
Ora ovviamente li dobbiamo anche cucinare. Quindi posizionare la carne macinata finemente in una padella.
Let's do that. And now, salt and pepper.
Mhm.
Now, I just have to follow the recipe
Passo
step by
passo la
step.
ricetta. Il libro è diverso per una questione di adattamento cinematografico e di tempi di scrittura e schermi diversi. Certo, ma tu li hai letti i libri? Quindi posizionare la carne macinata finemente in una padella. Quindi prima la carne.
I'd be starting my culinary career by mincing. I put the meat back in the can, ready to be used.
Ok,
The meat was ready to be prepared.
perfetto. Poi, prossimo passo, aggiungere in ordine una spolverata di parmigiano. Quindi
The grater was ideal for.
grattugiamo il parmigiano. Perfetto. Una spolverata di parmigiano. Benvenuti in Cookie Mama.
I hope to crack open the.
L'uovo. Sale e pepe.
At that point, I turned the griddle on to start.
Perfetto. Inizia la cottura quindi in ordine. Irrorare il tutto col vino bianco. Ok. Aggiungere lo zenzero a descrizione.
The root had to be grated. I'd extract the spice from the root using.
Perfetto. Quindi
And now,
zenzero.
finally, after a half day of unpaid hard work, our incredible chef Lazarus. Now that I think about it, it still seems crazy to interrupt an investigation just to make some meatballs. But yeah, not bad for a beginner.
E infatti. Vediamo un po'. Ecco le
Here's your
polpette.
meatball, chef.
I'd give it up hope, and you took only half the day to prepare them. Maybe. Let's see what you did.
Vediamo un po'. Sono tipo una schifezza immensa. Tutte le cose che abbiamo buttato dentro. ci piaceva. Mi è piaciuto.
I meant passable.
I told you there was a real cook hiding deep inside me. I just had to spread my wings and
Eh
fly.
sì.
Can I take a heart now?
Suit yourself. I'll see you at 8 o'clock.
Like a Swiss watch.
Sì, certo, credici. Il detective chef.
I finished in there, and I probably never.
Ok, adesso abbiamo il
Just a
cuore.
minute. Lazarus Bundy!
Non lo so. Non lo so che fine abbiano fatto, sinceramente parlando. Tyra non la sento da qualche giorno.
What the?
Now, like,
Forse sarà stata impegnata. Anche tu? Non è venuta alle live, alla tua live oggi? Allora, dobbiamo tornare alla villa. Sono entrati alla tua live.
with what I had with me, I was sure I could scare a loop. I held my breath.
Ricordiamoci la cartesina.
Don't look down, Lars. Don't look
Oh
down.
mamma. Cuore.
First, I needed to warm her up a bit with words
Ah, ok.
from the ledge. It was time to terrorize that poor woman.
My god, who's there?
You know who I am, woman.
Archbishop Molina?
As God be my witness, verily it is me. My imitation of medieval language is pitiful, but I never bothered taking a course.
But por qué you have come to me?
Thy beauty beckoned me back to this vivid land, and to its call I shan't resist.
But you are a ghost, and yo soy alive.
Ooh, we can easily remedy that, can't we? She was totally spooked.
Credo che sia il momento.
If the words had opened a crack, Bloody Heart would kick the door down.
Mamma mia, che cosa macabra. I creatori è un team italiano. Non mi ricordo come si chiamava il gruppo. Comunque sì, è realizzato da un gruppo italiano. Hanno realizzato questo gioco grazie al crowdfunding su Kickstarter. Hanno ricevuto praticamente delle donazioni e alla fine sono riusciti a sviluppare questo gioco.
Well, at that point I had to find something. I had to find it
Devo
fast
dire
before
che
she
come
took over hell.
animazioni, sì sì, addirittura un team italiano. È bello perché comunque ci sono dei piccoli easter egg di riferimento a due saghe di videogiochi punta e clicca come Broken Sword e Gabriel Knight. L'unica pecca di questo gioco che purtroppo è solamente doppiato in inglese e sottotitolato in italiano. Allora, guardiamo un po' la stanza, vediamo un po' se troviamo degli indizi. Noi stiamo indagando sulla scomparsa di una ragazza di nome Catherine e in questo momento siamo presenti a casa sua e siamo nella stanza del padre che non ce la conta molto giusta.
I sensed immediately, thanks to that irrational sixth sense that always assisted me. It's an oil drilling. Nothing happened. With the light on, I saw a little engraving in a corner of the desk.
Sembra essere un indizio. E queste sono delle note musicali. C'è una chiave di violino, una chiave di sol, no, una chiave di violino, una chiave di fa. 1 1 1 1 3 3 3 2 2. Sarà legata al pianoforte, che avrà un
Nothing
niente,
interesting.
niente.
Soapy water in a bucket. The bed was made and it didn't. There wasn't anything under there. Cleanliness of that house was unnerving.
Andiamo alla
There were mainly
libreria.
books on shipyard management, the economy, the oil market, the house owner's educational qualifications.
Allora, guardiamo bene di nuovo la scrivania, perché è importante, anzi mi faccio una foto dell'incisione, anche per capire che cosa vuole dire. Vediamo un po', dove me la faccio la fotografia, perché voglio andare al pianoforte e vedere un po', ecco qua siamo al pianoforte, devo vedere lo spartito. E altro riuscire a capire qual è il collegamento tra lo spartito. Ecco, per esempio qua abbiamo nello spartito abbiamo praticamente gli stessi simboli che ci sono nell'incisione. Ma che cosa vuol dire? Allora, con questa chiave praticamente ci sono 1 e 2, 2 2. Le chiavi di violino ce ne sono 3 e 3 qua, quindi corrispondono a questi.
I didn't know much about music. I didn't know much about.
Credo che corrispondano all'apertura dei cassetti. Che i cassetti sono esattamente della stessa forma, ma ci sarà un ordine per come aprirli. E qual è questo ordine? Nella chiave di violino c'è 1, 2, 3.
It was pointless to. It was pointless to.
Sì, perché è la stessa conformazione della cosa, della scrivania. Quindi così non succede nulla, poi sono. No. Non riesco a capire qual è il collegamento. Allora. Gli enigmi secondo me hanno un collegamento abbastanza frustrante. Cioè che se uno non riesce a capire dov'è che vuole arrivare a parare. Allora. Mm. Uno, due, tre, quattro. Poi ci abbiamo oddio, è un po' un casino, se è
Didn't know
quello che
much about.
penso io.
I didn't know much. I didn't know much.
Quindi sarebbe 1, 2, 3, 4. E poi il terzo. 3. Vediamo un po'. Non credo che sia questa la soluzione, ma mi sembra strano, non riesco a trovare un collegamento. 1, 2, 4. No.
I didn't know much. I didn't know much about me. I didn't know much about. I didn't
Non
know.
lo posso
I
prendere
didn't know
questo
much.
spartito?
Books on oil drilling. Books on oil drill. was remembered seeing the sheet music previously on Catherine's piano.
Ah, il problema è che si devono sbloccare delle forme di dialogo. Cioè devo usare il tasto destro del mouse per esaminare meglio le cose.
The engraving I found on Molsberg's desk contained a musical reference that I realized that the sheet music was the key that would let me unravel the secrets hidden in that desk. I remembered Molsberg's words when he confessed to me that he knew nothing about music. The sheet music, therefore, had to conceal a code not strictly connected to music. The musical
Ce l'ho davanti.
Rolling out the two erased lines of the
Escludendo le righe che
pentagram,
venivano
three
cancellate,
remained,
ne rimanevano
each
3,
marked by a
consonanti
different
ciascuna da
musical
una
key.
chiave musicale diversa.
Were the
Ok.
notes on the sheet
Che le
music
note
a
dello
reference to
spartito
the drawers
fossero
of
un
the desk?
riferimento ai cassetti della scrivania.
I also noticed something written on
Allegro
top.
aperto. Allora, io quello dicevo prima, ne abbiamo qua l'incisione, una, quindi questa, allegro aperto. Poi c'è la seconda che è questa, però qua la seconda non ha niente, questa ne ha due. Poi abbiamo i due, di cui questi due, sì, quindi il sinistro e il destro. E poi abbiamo il terzo della chiave di violino, il primo non c'è nulla, il terzo, ok, quindi uno, no, sbagliato, non riesco a capire qual è questo collegamento.
Rolling out the two erased lines of the pentagram, were the notes on the sheet music a reference to the drawers of the
Che le
desk?
note sullo spartito fossero un riferimento ai cassetti della scrivania.
I also noticed something written
Allegro
on top.
aperto.
Allegro aperto. In music, that means something like a cheerful open.
Mm. Mm.
I knew that desk was hiding something.
Ok.
My hands shaking with emotion, I grabbed the folder. I was prepared for anything, but what I found on that paper left me speechless.
What do you think you're doing in my room? Who let you enter?
Normally, I'd
Oh,
have a pair
è
of
appena
sarcastic
entrato.
answers for you, but right now, I've completely lost my sense of humor. How do you explain this?
Ma che è? Una radiografia?
You. This is unbeatable.
La figlia era
First
incinta?
someone leaves the phone receiver off, costing me a $10 million deal, and now this? You snuck in here and rummaged through my private documents without a warrant.
You keep on dodging the questions that really matter, Mr. I have a broken heart. Please bring... Your daughter was pregnant, and you knew that. And on top of that, you concealed the documents that proved it. I don't know if it's clear enough, but this makes you the prime suspect on my list. Who's the father? The guy in the picture I showed you? Answer me, goddammit.
Enough! Leave this residence immediately and never come back. And I
I could say the same thing. So young Catherine was pregnant at the time of the kidnapping. Was it possible that was the motive? And what was her father's role in the whole story? Had he hidden the medical records to preserve his daughter's dignity? Or to hide a motive that would have been a red flag? Night had fallen by then.
Ma è
Initially, I
uscito
thought
l'anno
of going straight to
scorso.
bed and some
Io seguo una pagina che si chiama Adventure Planet, che esiste da tanti anni, è un gruppo, un gruppo di giornalisti italiani, o penso anche più giornalisti, sono un pugno di fan proprio delle avventure punta e clicca. E loro proprio si dedicano solo a quei giochi, a quella tipologia di giochi.
Police report has identified the cause of the patron's collective discomfort as some meatballs. The
Eh,
chef defended himself, claiming he had given instructions for the
E quindi
properly said.
lì mi pare di aver visto delle recensioni al riguardo. Ma anche Steam, spesso, siccome mi piacciono i punti e clicca, mi appaiono delle notizie su degli ultimi arrivati del genere, insieme a tanti altri.
absolute.
Isn't that because you're playing against yourself?
If someone had tried socializing rather than carrying around her. So at the current state of things, I am the undisputed number one, and that's that.
In the meantime, your someone might have found something. I couldn't find any information on the man in the company of Catherine Molesberg, but the logo visible on the building gave me a lead to follow. It's a decommissioned factory belonging to a company called Falling Rose, for which I'm...
Yes, all right. It's all very
È un genere che o ti piace o non ti piace, cioè
Put down that info
non,
You
non è
like
come un
that
Super Mario che può piacere a tutti, per dirti. Cioè ti deve proprio piacere il fatto che devi ragionare per poter risolvere gli enigmi e le situazioni che ti trovi davanti. Ci sono stati a me dei punti e clicca che veramente mi hanno rapito per la loro bellezza e anche per la storia come era narrata. Oh, grazie Rin.
that was clearly a foul. I found a surprise waiting for me.
Oh, e questo chi è?
Mr. Bundy, I was just looking for you.
Am I late with the rent?
The rent is the least of your problems right now. There are people, Mr. Bundy, who find your investigation really bothersome.
You were sent by Molesberg, weren't you? Thinks he can scare me with his two-bit intimidation tactics. And I have absolutely no intention of stopping. I'll bring the truth to the light, even if a whole empire has to fall because of it.
That's all I need to know.
Wait!
Oh, ma che... certo, un'altra caratteristica dei vecchi punta e clicca di una volta è che alcuni tipi di giochi dovevi stare attento a come ponevi determinate domande, se no il protagonista moriva.
I'm listening.
Cooperate, and maybe there will be no unpleasant consequence. Many influential forces are at work in this story, Mr. Bundy.
What forces are you talking about precisely?
You'd be surprised to find out. However,
I've worked my whole life to expose the truth, and you won't be the one to stop me.
a praiseworthy, but still stupid.
Wait!
Ah, che palle. Quante volte dovrà morire il protagonista?
I'm listening.
Cooperate. Many influential
Take the bait. What are these?
that you don't try to push beyond your capability, that you accept your place as an insignificant exile, and you have a choice to make, Bundy.
Okay, I quit the case. Really, it's not a matter that concerns me. I'm sorry for the girl, but in the end, these things happen. The important thing is that they don't happen to your son.
You just made the best choice of your life. Oh, Bundy. Just some advice. Let this be our last meeting.
The guy had been clear and explicit. I could be sure that if I didn't comply with his demand for answers, he'd kill me without giving it a second thought. My rational sides urged me to really let it go. Goodbye case, goodbye challenge, goodbye unsolved mysteries, and goodbye Catherine. No, I destiny. Our father did something horrible to her. He had hidden the truth from the world, maybe even going so far as having his own flesh and blood kidnapped, or even... No way I'll give up. I am... I am up against the wall.
Ok, penso abbiamo forse chiuso il capitolo. 14 novembre, appartamento di Lars. Da considerare che comunque è un gioco, per quello che ho
Things
letto,
just get better and
che
better.
parte
I'd fall
come
asleep with my clothes on.
parte da un omicidio per poi a sfociare a tematiche un pochino più pesanti. Anzi, non si tratta manco di omicidio, qua si parla di un rapimento. Però da quello che ho visto da un'intervista di questi ragazzi che hanno realizzato questo gioco, poi il gioco va a toccare determinate tematiche.
That visit the previous night had shaken me more than I wanted to admit. Well, that must be Alice. Door's open. Hey, intern. Welcome.
Hello, Lars. You always leave the door open?
Of course. So, the delivery boy can leave me the harbinger at the door and I can...
Vediamo cosa abbiamo trovato.
Hey, Alice, look at that.
Did they finally find Ramos?
Much better. Today, the harbinger is giving out firecrackers to celebrate...
You get excited over very little sometimes.
But it's a pop-pop. One of those kinds that explodes if you throw it on the ground.
I was expecting different furnishings. You look more like a guy with a toilet.
Everything was more or less already like this when I got here. Hey, what do you mean by... Well, at this point, I'd say it's best to leave behind the beating I gave you last...
Are you talking about when the ball slipped and landed on my foot? Or when you elbowed me in the stomach?
Well, I did get a strike.
Yes, in another alley.
Try to make yourself at home.
As I was trying to tell you yesterday evening, I couldn't trace any information about the man in Catherine's company, which is quite strange, considering that I have total access to all the government databases in the world.
But this can be explained in perfectly legal ways, and in any case, it doesn't help us with the investigation.
On the other hand, I found some information about the symbol appearing in the background, which identifies a company called Fallen Rose.
Fallen Rose.
It doesn't sound familiar.
The company itself did business in many sectors, but the Miami headquarters specialized in building materials. From the archives, I couldn't find anything suspicious. All above board until... But here's the kicker. Although the company is supposedly bankrupt, I found signs of recent activity by analyzing surveillance cameras.
Oh, they're still there. Maybe I could... Alice, I need access to that factory, this very day.
It could be risky, but I certainly won't stop you. I feel this case could really push... And by the way, my zealous detective, I think it's time you tell me everything you know about the case we're investigating.
All right, at this point I can't deny you deserve it. Okay, let's start from the beginning. That is to say, the night I tracked down Ramos.
Ah, quindi gli sta raccontando tutto quello che ha passato in questi giorni, ok.
This
Questo...
is, in broad terms, what pushed me to investigate the Molesberg case.
I'm still not totally clear on the relevance of the porn magazine.
Oh, that? Wait, I can explain that in more
Doesn't matter. Anyway, it's really absurd. How did you manage to get yourself involved in a case like this?
This could be my big chance at redemption, Alice. I'm not ready to surrender yet.
I get it, but now... I'd better get back to the office. I really can't afford to be late.
I'll leave with you then. I expect this will be a very emotional day.
Vedremo. Allora, vediamo
Well,
un po'.
see you later then.
Alice's contribution was crucial, giving me another lead to follow. And abandoned. I figured I should also swing by Nancy's. Maybe I would be able to talk to think of it. This was the day I was also supposed to have my interview with that... I had serious doubts about what to do. Maybe it would be better to go back to Ramos's house to face that shrew.
Ok, quindi sono tre luoghi dove dovremmo andare. Allora, la fabbrica abbandonata, lungomare e la casa di David Ramos. Andiamo a lungomare intanto. Ecco Roger.
You are Roger the Tramp, aren't you?
Firstly, the term tramp is now considered inconsiderate, and the preferred nomenclature is homeless person or transient. Secondly, it is very rude to address a stranger by name without
I beg your pardon, but I didn't realize I was in the presence of the Baron of Sussex.
Do not be absurd, boy. I'm not the Baron of Sussex. I'm Duke Roger Emmerich Ravendish III from Derbyshire.
Yet you live on a bench and you have a torn shoe.
I also rummaged through the refuse, to be completely honest.
This guy was a real madman. Well, Duke Ravendish, may I ask you a few questions?
I am at your disposal, at least.
So you are an actual nobleman?
The Ravendish family dates back to the 16th century.
Sì, tranquillo, non ti preoccupare.
I can only wonder how an actual duke ends up living on this.
I do not think my story
Do you remember where you were 2 nights ago?
at Chef Tony's, a modest 5-star restaurant located in the west.
You answered with extraordinary
I stick to my weekly schedule precisely. It's a carryover.
I see. Do you remember if you...
Might you be a detective, young man?
Of course I am. Do you want to see my badge?
Your poor attempt at dressing like Sir
What's your point?
If you are a detective, it means that, ergo, you can help me save my Camerops.
Your what?
My dwarf palm. I have spent my afternoons basking in the shade of its leaves for years.
Explain.
Recent studies have revealed the presence of the red Blatodia on these picturesque beaches. My palm was judged to be sick, which was clearly a...
I think I understand what you're getting at, but I have to point out that someone could
I am not offering goods in exchange for a service. Any assistance would simply bring peace.
That man was used to these kinds of negotiations. All right, let's see what I can...
Make that red mark disappear.
So what if I asked you to remember the...
Oh my, if only someone would take
I think I know perfectly...
quid pro.
Don't leave the country, Duke Raven.
I would be...
Ok, dobbiamo guarire la sua palma.
Typical seaside.
Ci servirà qualcosa. Allora,
Look at that, Jimby. The brave lad.
I can't believe him.
There, no reason to be upset.
I'll content myself with the assurance that you will...
Alright, so I'd say we've got Jimby, you can start.
Whoa, wait a second.
This is Gwendolyn Pratt reporting from the house of the serial killer Blowtorch, aka we have with us the detective in charge of the case, Lazarus Bundy.
Good evening.
Let's get straight to the point. Last night you were involved in a struggle with the dangerous individual. How would you describe this experience to us?
I've had simpler cases. I mean, cases in which I didn't almost end up getting choked.
And here we see the human side of law enforcement, ladies and gentlemen. Who would have thought that...
Fragile heart?
Where do you think Ramos is hiding right now?
I'm afraid that lunatic is unfit.
If things are really as you say, I'm sure Seamus Burton will have the respectable Seamus Burton, who always... Let's cut to the chase, detective. How do you answer the accusations that you purposely let Blowtorches...
Already a risk job. What are you talking about, you...
It's no secret that you've just been fired, detective.
I wasn't covering up anything. I was fine.
Facts tell another story, Bundy. It seems you've been in difficult waters lately. That your alleged detective skills have been... My understanding is that you haven't successfully closed a case for at least 6 months.
Enough, Brad. I knew I was making a mistake coming here.
One more question, Bundy. Have you given any thought to your immediate future? I doubt that anyone... As you wish. I'm Gwendolyn Pratt. Back to you in the newsroom. I told you, Bundy. The important thing is not for the audience to have the absolute...
Go to hell. I knew it was a bad idea to challenge Gwendolyn Pratt, the queen of so I declined in those previous... Anyway, who cared? My price is speculate.
ok, e questo è fatto. Non penso che tornando qua di nuovo... infatti non c'è
It's you
nessuno.
again. No, but I've seen you on TV.
You must.
Ah, well, you can proclaim it. Lazarus Bundy!
That's why you wear a Sherlock Holmes hat?
In
It's
effetti.
more like him wearing my hat.
Sì,
Actually,
certo, come no.
Anyway, let me work now, Mr.
Issa.
Stay there and watch how a real investigator works.
I have to wait for the pawn shop to open anyway. The owner has no will to work. He should have been here.
That place drained me up. The vending machine wasn't working, so I couldn't buy a soda. But that wouldn't be a problem anyway.
Trying is useless. I put some money inside and it was eaten. I also tried to kick it.
Believe me, you were lucky. I wouldn't wish us. Regardless where it ended up, it needed.
Do you want to sneak in?
Why would I want to sneak it?
You look like the kind of guy.
No more messages from.
Are you looking for clues?
What?
I've heard this building was the hideout of a famous local. Hey, did you have anything?
Nah, that was another case.
Andiamo vedi qua, non serve a niente. Ok, prossimo luogo. Andiamo alla fabbrica. Vediamo un po'.
And this would be an abandoned factory? I underestimated the size of the matter. That building was huge. And plus, the place was being watched. I had to find a way to access it without being noticed.
Ok.
Mamma mia, look at those cars. I couldn't climb over it. Hello.
Oh mamma.
Did you by any chance come from the future to stop android domination?
Ah,
I don't understand what. Who are you?
I am. Maybe it was best to use a fake name. Give.
Clint Stallone, ma ti prego.
Like the cartoon they show every third. I like it a lot. I am Eugene Med.
Meeting you is a huge pleasure. So, what are you doing here all alone?
I'm guarding the fort. Mama says it's a job of
Responsibility.
Rasposità.
Exactly. Responsibility. Mama said if someone we don't like or is not our friend shows up and
You kick them out.
I break his back and throw him down the drain.
Ah,
Every
posto.
time this happens, Mama makes big laughs.
The innocence with which he confessed the atrocity left this Eugene was oblivious about being so. I heard you mention a certain Mama.
Mama Sensiling. She gets angry when people call her Mama.
Is she your mother?
No, but she took me from the orphanscape.
Orfanoskopio.
Orphanage, Eugene.
Yes, yes.
And what's her line of work?
She tried to explain it, but she says she loves working with other people's money.
Loan shark. They're criminals of the worst kind. And is she here?
No, she comes later. First, she goes to find her.
Better and better. She must be
Bene,
a barrel
a
of
posto.
Imagine that once, when she was young, she took gas and matches. Boom! The owner says it's because of that funny story that he gave this.
So, this is a restricted area.
I don't know.
I mean, only certain people can.
It's true. It works like that. And that's just me, the owner. Ah, no. I broke the back.
You really know how to have fun around here. What do you think about giving me a sightseeing?
Like when you're in those places with a. I never understand what they say those.
Let's play a game. I am a Japanese tourist, and you're the nice guy. The game is not started yet, Eugene.
I don't know, Stallone. I'd really like to.
I had to persist with Eugene. About the owner of the factory. He runs the place.
Yes, he's.
Responsible, Eugene. Can you describe?
I'm not good at doing indenter. He's not funny though. Mama says he scares shit.
Her, Eugene. Is this him by any chance?
Yes, that's Redwag. Why do you got his photo?
Ah, well, he and I are old friends. I'd really like to enter and visit.
Now he's out, but you can wait for him outside.
What a shame.
And jump out from a corner screaming boo?
I'd really like to, but Mama would kill me.
At least now I knew the name of the mysterious character. Let's suppose I managed to convince this mama to let.
Yes?
Where would I find Radwed's office? This place looks.
I can't talk about this. Last time I disobeyed, she took away Bert, and the same night she made me found his severed head on the
Mamma
bed.
mia.
Good lord. Was it your dog?
My stuffed panda.
Well, it must have been a painful loss for you. No.
You can say that against the law.
Getting back to us. Are you sure you can't tell me anything? After all,
No, and again, no.
that information was even if I managed to enter the factory. I'd risk being seen roaming around with. I needed Eugene, so I had to deceive him some. So, you really loved your teddy bear?
A panda. It was a panda.
So,
A pa-
and more important.
My
Un bel problema.
The upteenth beach party, complete with my scarf continually cut. The upteenth beach with my. The poster fluttered, held only by 2 little pins. Contained all the details about a missing little dog, including. Saw a hole in the wall, right behind that. The manhole could have been a perfect gateway into the factory.
Oh, Peter, ciao.
The question was, how to get there. Alice held her own quite well with that computer, and I had started to. I always wanted to drive one of them. I always wanted.
Come va?
Even after entering the premises.
Ok. No, dovrebbe esserci Rin, si è assegnato 2 minuti. Allora, se non si è addormentato. Ha suonato pure io, sinceramente. Sto cercando di resistere.
Hello.
Hi, Lars.
I've been to the factory you mentioned this morning.
Sicuramente.
And you know what, Alice? That place is anything but abandoned.
Which makes it a real lead, instead of the...
Problem of sneaking inside remains, though. The place is guarded by the last descendant. Yet I think I found a possible access point. We can...
I'm usually able to find out more than an average person can learn about their spouse by rummaging through their wallet.
Sì, sì, ho letto, ho letto. Ah, le scritte. E che se comincio a leggere ad alta voce mi addormento.
Remarkable. Could you provide me with a
Vabbè,
map of
posso
the,
fare, diciamo, un riassunto di quello che,
Ah.
che stanno dicendo. Siccome lui deve entrare in una
I know
fabbrica,
it may seem strange,
deve
but
entrare
I
in
need
una
a map of the
fabbrica
city streets
abbandonata,
with a marked path that
o
will
per
lead me
meglio dire
from a safe
pseudo
starting point
abbandonata.
to an endpoint.
Sta chiedendo aiuto ad Alice per trovare un punto per poter entrare dalle fognature.
You want to go through the sewers? Give me 2 minutes.
Quindi, siccome lei è brava al computer, si sta chiedendo se può analizzare la planimetria delle fognature della città.
And I marked the coordinates for the old It wasn't easy. I had to hack the server of the Miami municipality, upload a worm that would hide my IP from the IT controllers, and finally download all the...
And you did all that in 20 seconds?
Sì, sì, ma è staccato.
I'm messing with you. I just loaded the appropriate site and found a recent... Are you sure you want to sneak through the sewers
Ok,
all alone?
perfetto.
With or without a map?
Recently, I met a kid that could prove useful.
Let me know what you find. Be careful.
You bet.
That would...
Yeah,
Not really. But wait. You could...
great. Bad feelings.
Ok, quindi abbiamo una mappa per le fogne, quindi adesso dovremmo riuscire ad attraversare la città dalle fognature e arrivare alla fabbrica, vediamo un po'.
The fact that you don't have a picture of your parents on the desk makes me think that you're not particularly interested in their... Is because of a family conflict in your background. Your father was a bad man, maybe a drunkard, who didn't spare any... Time and fatigue weakened the woman, causing premature aging and the total whitening of her hair. Your lock is dedicated...
Come on, knock it off. My mother works in a dry cleaners around the corner and still has long blonde hair. My father, on the other hand, is a retired detective, and he's still my role model. Even today, I dare say he was probably a much better detective than you.
So you think this will be enough to make me declare surrender? I'll be back for more soon.
Ok.
See you later, partner.
Allora, vediamo un po' di andare nelle fognature. Allora, vediamo un po'. Vediamo se lui ci può aiutare.
Hey there, kid.
What do you want?
The moment has come to finally assert your peculiar talent.
To open tuna cans using only my toenails?
No, gross. I mean,
Che
your
schifo.
infallible sense of direction in the depths of the city's underground. You must be my guide and lead me to a
Vabbè, gli
specific
sta
point of the
chiedendo
city, in the
praticamente se gli
vicinity
può
of a
dare una
manhole.
mano ad attraversare le
How do
fognature.
I know where it is?
I have a map here with the route displayed. I'm not that naive.
Okay.
My unconditional. All right, what do you want?
I want you to recover my medallion from that mound of dirt.
Is it yours? And why is it there? Is it yet another gift from the surface?
Don't even joke about it. That medallion.
Maybe we can retrieve it and give it back to the rightful.
I told you it's mine. I always have it on me, but this morning I woke. I just couldn't reach it, and so.
Ha! It must be tough to be as tall as a can.
If you're going to be like that, then I want a Sfrizzo Cola too.
Do you think this is the right time to drink a soda? I'm in a hurry.
It's not for drinking. I need it as fuel for my modified
Ah,
vehicle.
addirittura.
Something about that.
Prende questo
It
tizio,
seems
non
that
ci aiuta se non gli
Sfrizzo was
recuperiamo il
withdrawn from the market
medaglione e
just
noi
because of the
gli
diluted fuel
recuperiamo una
scandal.
sfrizzocola.
Wait a minute, though. What vehicle are we talking?
Listen, do you want to ride or not? Then shut up, bring me my
Okay, okay.
Ok, un medaglione e una sfrizzocola. Vediamo che oggetti che abbiamo. Allora, il medaglione è lì.
It remained out of. A chain
Mm.
can always, for example. Maybe. No matter how an ingenious. It remained out of. I thought it was a long and. Was it really?
Beh, penso che gli oggetti ce li ho
Was it
tutti.
really? Maybe.
È un po' pop.
Sometime. I was all. I thought it was. A chain can always. For example. No matter how. Sometimes. I didn't. Medallion was out of reach, even from the central mound. I would have to go around and get there from the back.
Avrei dovuto farci il giro e rifarci da dietro. Ah, ecco, perfetto. Ok, preso.
The line from my amazing fishing rod had broken, giving I was astonished by the craftsmanship of the object. This surely wasn't street chew. A crow, with a threatening look, surrounded the world with its wings. What was a little gangbanger like him doing with a prize like that? Then again, it was absolutely none of my business. I already had a mystery.
Ok, vabbè, allora abbiamo recuperato praticamente quello che era il medaglione. Ora dobbiamo recuperare una sfrizzocola che si trova praticamente qui. Qua c'è un distributore, quindi vediamo un po' se riusciamo a interagire. Qualcosa di illecito. Che cosa possiamo fare?
Maybe. In that moment, I didn't. A vending machine. Actually, the soda was pulled from the market some time ago. In that moment, I needed one for M. Destroying the vending machine seemed like overkill. Once my call, I had to. As a result of dealing with the worst individual, scrounging a
Col
soda
metro.
was one of those tricks.
LOL.
Hey, I had a Swizzle Colt.
sorry, aren't you?
Exactly. And this vending machine contains some.
How cool. Can we take a selfie?
Ah, no thanks.
Actually,
Non fatelo a casa. Questo è poco ma sicuro. Ok, torniamo nelle fogne. Diamo tutto ad M.
Hey there, kid.
What do you want?
I recovered your medallion. Not bad at all, I must say.
Throw it to me and mind your own business.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Hey
E
there,
diamogli
kid.
What
anche
do you
la
want?
Coca-Cola.
Here's your frizzle.
We'll get around
All ready for our departure?
I'm ready for anything.
Before leaving, I'd have to find out precisely how to move around and... I still have to take care...
Scusami, se sappiamo...
All ready for our
I'm ready for it.
Before leaving, I'd have to find
Vedere
out
tutto
precisely
scoprire
how
come
to move
muovermi
around
diviso
inside the
all'interno
factory.
della fabbrica. Ah, certo, l'indizio... Ok, allora... Un panda di pezza. Ah, devo corrompere Eugene con un panda di pezza. Beh, dove lo recupero un panda di pezza? Nella casa di Catherine? No, non ci posso andare. Se... Andiamo di qua.
Attention, monsieur. Attention.
Cornuto.
The Harbinger today made us a really big favor with those.
It almost sounds like a...
They should be illegal. They throw them on the ground. Then they... Where will we end up, I wonder?
At the morgue. Another prank like that. And yet, I suspected that having one of those firecrackers in my pocket... Putting it in my pocket was out of the question. I'd have, if need... I'd already raided. I had nothing else to say. The fountain wasn't especially elaborate. It emitted a... I've had enough.
Dove lo recupero un panda di pezza? Nel vicolo ci devo tornare? No, lì non mi ci fa andare più. Ok, quindi almeno alcuni posti vanno ad esclusione. Vediamo se a casa di Lass magari c'è qualcosa.
So Eugene was heartbroken over the loss. They used my little bear to entice him.
Ah, ecco, infatti.
How long since I last pulled it out from down? I called him that in memory of my grandpa, Roberto. That stuffed animal.
Ok, ma è un ossacchiotto, dobbiamo trasformarlo in un panda, quindi... Torniamo qui. Guarda che c'è una vernice bianca.
That way?
Ecco. Adesso possiamo andare. Vediamo, torniamo alla fabbrica. No, questa parte è un pochino più facile rispetto a quelle precedenti.
Eugene, I have a surprise for you.
What is it?
A brand new teddy bear. So you can...
Bert is not late. He's dead. And that is a very bad bear. Not Bert had little paws, and I surrounded by dogs. Take it away.
Incredible. He was.
Quindi devo dipingere le cose di nero. E mi pare che io ho un pennarello indelebile. Vediamo un po'.
With the proper modifications.
Ecco. Perfetto.
Eugene!
Bert?
I know a specialist doctor owed me a favor, and I asked him to help me.
Of course.
But can you tell me where to find Radwed's office inside the...
Enter the big door, take the alley towards the hands right, climb the ladder, and you'll find it up there. Now give me my...
I knew Eugene was totally at my mercy then. And he would let me enter without... Can I enter the...
No.
Oh.
Bert!
I lingered a few moments to watch Eugene play happily with a piece of my childhood. The only toy my father ever gave me. Parting with it was a bit like giving up a sweet memory.
Ok, adesso possiamo andare nelle fogne. Vediamo.
Hey there, kid.
What do you want?
All ready for our departure?
I'm ready for any...
I'd say it's time.
Walk!
I just about convinced myself that I'd been scammed. When from...
Addirittura.
All aboard! The next ferry is about to weigh anchor and set sail to the sewers of death.
A posto.
Hold tight to the dinghy.
Following Eugene's instructions, I quickly reached Radwed's office. Finally in the wolf's lair. I
Perfetto.
had to move quickly then, and above all, find something that would...
Ok, vediamo di esplorare con molta velocità.
Light solvent. Alice told me the factory produced building materials before
Un solvente.
it supplied power to the fan. As expected. As was reasonable to...
Aspetta.
Sometimes, my obsession. I thought it was better to look
No.
messy and without style. They were all pictures of Catherine.
Infatti tutte le foto di Catherine.
Catherine at sea, on a boat, always smiling. And among all those shots, the picture that led me there. The photo that led me to the... Catherine was holding a snow globe, inside which Miami was her expression suggested she felt the same. I wondered if I'd ever get the chance to hear her play. She was running carefree in a park. That picture made my guts churn with rage. Catherine at the beach. No detail that indicated... She was on a luxury boat. Probably. She was on a luxury boat. On a horse, smiling, on a sunny day. The baby bump showing on the girl suggested that the photo was recent. She had the sunniest smile I'd ever seen in my life. Catherine in a park, in the tranquility of a spring sunny day. Photo that led...
C'è la palla di vetro.
I inspected the sphere. Discovered a small, very stupid place to hide something. Batteries must have leaked.
Che considerato si è messo il vente. Ok.
Key didn't fit any of those drawers.
E se questa chiave la si fonda con
In that
questa?
moment, it didn't... lock
Ok.
triggered, and the drawer opened among the several documents inside. It was related to an unspecified exchange of goods that would be happening that very night. The location of the meeting wasn't specified, but a certain detail grabbed my attention. One of the records was for a bribe to... Considering the number of piers in Miami, finding the right one would be far from easy. I needed more clues if I wanted to find the exchange location.
Lui ha trovato dei... Che è successo?
I smell the blood of a snoop.
Qualcuno ha
You
sparato.
seriously said feed five folk?
Mama got it right, like always.
Ah, è
Put your head
mamma.
out and let me take a look at you, smartass.
Like heck. What would stop you from shooting me then?
I only need to take 2 steps to have you at gun.
You don't want to do that. I'm gonna tell...
So you say, and yet I don't see you flush.
I'm just waiting for you to take a wrong...
I say, okay, I'm fed up with this chattering. You have 3 1.
I doubted that the power strip could help me.
2.
Aiuto.
All right, Squirt. It seems you weren't bluffing after all. What do you think you accomplished? Radwad will...
True, but I bought precious seconds to get out of that. By turning on the power, I thought I could divert Mama's attention towards the fan, clearing a way through the office. Where I was, though, the power strip was beyond... Closed it.
Hey, what are you up to?
Nothing.
I've known many...
Could that ashtray help me in any way? Cigarette was out. As soon as the smoke reached me, waves of desire washed. How tough can it be to quit such a...
Hey, Squirt, are you out of your mind? Take another step or I'll...
All right. I was just using the...
Ok, l'abbiamo spostata.
What the hell is happening in here?
It's time to go for broke.
Ora.
Okay, Squirt, I'm sick. Here you are.
Cazzo. Mm.
In all likelihood, would have...
Here you are, you...
Mm. Cosa devo fare? Ma che cavolo?
Here you are.
She'd have heard the clink.
Here you are, you snooper.
Sta crepando una marea di volte.
Adrenaline was pumping through every cell of my body, giving me the necessaries now to get out of there. As I walked away from that hellish factory, I thought of how I had miraculously escaped one of the worst situations. Yet, it was worth the risk. Now, I knew there would be an exchange of unspecified... Just had to find out which was the right pier among the thousands...
Ok, Lazarus è scoperto e ci sarà uno scambio nel molo la notte. Penso che adesso devo fare un'ultima cosa. E credo che questa volta sappiamo cosa fare.
The paint was still fresh, so the solvent. Good morning. And stop worrying about.
You do not speak.
Now, will you answer
Ravendish can be ruthless.
about the night we discussed earlier? Do you remember witnessing it?
The Stroganoff stew was cooked without sauerkraut. Beyond that, I remember seeing an extraordinary,
Can you describe him?
formally attired, classy, possessing remarkable posture. He always had
Nothing else?
not
Another dead end. He was the only witness of the yelling was a cold lead after all.
where is my head? I
held my breath.
As he strode towards the main street, the man received a phone call, from which I only managed to capture certain. One in particular aroused my attention, and I determined to. I wrote it down in a note that, given your.
Gripped with excitement, I prepared to read the note.
Do not look at me like that.
I'll handle this. Although I didn't know how to interpret it, I was sure that bizarre word would lead. I had to consult with Alice and try to tie it.
Oh, lad, can you.
Do you want me to prune your palm while I'm here?
Ah, va bene, ok Peter, ci vediamo domani. Domani facciamo la live horror, quindi se ci sei, sei il benvenuto.
You have proven to be a being a detective, you may have access to government
Ciao, ciao.
databases through which.
I couldn't help but notice the effigy, a crow, in the act of surrounding the world with its
Ah,
wings.
lo
I'd already
stesso
seen the same
del...
symbol shortly before. M's medallion.
Ma sempre verso le 10:30. Se tutto va bene, 10:30, 11.
What the hell was going on? Had I exposed? Well, can you give me more?
The crow enveloping the world is the symbol of the Ravendish family. Oh, more.
Tell me everything. Forward.
That sharp. The raven was, to me, a constant commitment. I ate with colleagues and slept in the office most of the time. I went home. Over time, I started. First, my wife, who got sick of
Cynthia?
my only heir. She gave birth to a child, but I was so. When I saw her again, she told me she wanted to leave England to. I was furious. I had filled her pockets with money, given her houses, clothes. Oh, I feigned indifference and she left.
And since then, you've never seen your daughter again?
My daughter reached Miami. And she was killed instantly, without pain.
He had been abandoned.
How do you know that?
Let's say it was a deduction.
My daughter realized she couldn't take care of, so she abandoned him. I don't know what her last thoughts were, but I used most part of my fortune organizing searches, but to no avail. In the end, I was declared unfit to manage the Raven, and my portion was...
Before my eyes, the pieces were being arranged in a very strange way. How could it be that the Fallen Rose itself, the company run by Radwed, at that moment, I began to suspect that my meeting with Roger Ravendish was... You're telling me you stayed in Miami to work for your nephew for... how many years?
12 years, give or take, and I shall stay here as many more need be to
Listen, Duke Ravendish, I don't want... What are the chances that a 12-year-old kid who calls himself M would find himself in...
Boy, if this isn't jest,
I believe it would be better if you...
So this relic would be my grandpa.
Hey, little monster. What?
Come on. I get that you're a bit of a sucker, but this guy comes out with an absurd story and I should
Michael, you wear the medallion of the Ravendish.
Michael?
But there's more. An irrefutable piece of evidence that I see my Cynthia in your eyes. Your...
My mom?
Come. I'll take you out of this hell.
Vado, guarda.
Circus. It's been such a long time since I've seen it. It has a weird smell.
City life is a collection of scents. The asphalt,
The pollution.
you'll learn to distinguish them. But for now, let's go home, Michael.
From the beginning of the story, I had done nothing but use everybody else to achieve my aims. As I watched that grandfather and grandson leaving together, I realized that for the first time, it made me feel... Hello.
Lars, don't you know that if you have to meet a girl after being in the sewer, you should...
I would have really liked to, my dear, believe me. But today is not...
I already heard that one. So why do you have that strange smile?
I found out that two homeless nobles are related. I've brought them together.
Does it have anything to do with our kid?
Yeah,
I understand. First, the secondary quest, right? Now, can we get back...
I found a witness who swears he saw the lunatic who challenged me. According to this highly refined homeless person, the man uttered the word...
Circle... Ciplo... what?
Yeah, I basically had the same reaction.
Let's see what I can find. So, the word itself is a proper name. I think in our case, it means something else, though. I did a cross-check with anything. The search produced some matches. A themed hotel in the suburbs, a ship anchored here in Miami.
It must be the strip club. See you later.
Stop right there, you...
You don't get it. My instincts lead me to believe that...
Keep your instinct at bay. We need to narrow down the field. We can't afford to go off at random.
All... But I'm sure it's the strip club.
Okay, okay.
I was able to sneak inside the factory.
How'd it go?
I think, my dear, that I underestimated those people. I had to deal with a person of uncertain gender armed to the teeth whom I managed to survive only by a miracle. And thanks to my cat-like reflexes. Add to that the sketchy individual who gently suggested that I leave the case alone. And you'll have a clear...
Somebody is not happy with the progress we're making.
Not at all. And the closer we get, the more I feel hunted.
The situation is more serious than I imagined. I really might have a chance for a promotion.
Hey, what about my life constantly being in danger?
Summing it all up, what do we actually...
First of all, I was able to put a name to our brown-haired mystery man. The factory was registered to his... Then I discovered that tonight an unspecified merchandise exchange will happen nearby.
Considering the number of piers and ships anchored in Miami, it doesn't... If only we had another hit.
Alice, let's think back to the clues we know for...
So, in the factory you found a...
That will happen tonight at an unspecified...
Then that witness you talked to gave us a name.
Which, among other things, seems to be a ship anchored in Miami right now.
And here we are. I want to do another check.
Don't get too carried away. The two...
I don't think so. The Citlalique is a ship used for goods transport, and is... And listen to this! It seems to be registered to none other than Eric Molesberg.
Guarda caso.
I knew the man was involved with his daughter's kidnapping. Maybe by murder. I just have to wait now. If all goes well...
Listen, Lars, if you're going to sneak onto the ship alone, it'd be better to take precaution. Burton wanted me to compile an inventory of new gadgets which just arrived in the department.
A metal bracelet. Pretty ugly, too.
It contains a powerful tracker that will allow me...
So, if I were to disappear, you could at least find... And this other...
You must pay very careful attention to that. It
Really?
No, silly. It's simply a Bluetooth headset. How do you plan to sneak aboard the ship?
I just have to arrange a ride by sea. And I know just the right smelly... If I hurry, maybe I'll be able to reach him before he leaves the city.
Lars, don't get killed.
Then, I saw him. Radwood was there, a few feet away from that crate. From back there, I couldn't hear what they were saying, but the tension seemed as tight as a bowstring. From Mama's agitated hand gestures, I realized that I was... Radwood, for his part, seemed calm. Was it possible that my interference... Unnoticed?
What are you doing?
Shh.
Shh,
Can't you see I'm
silenzio.
trying to listen?
Ecco.
Can't throw me inside a coal. Oh, that blow was immense. But at least not yet, at least. It also emptied my pockets. If they hadn't destroyed it, the tracker analysis would I still be alive by then?
Ok, mi hanno praticamente imprigionato.
Found an old CD player. Old fashioned. Trying to
Ma?
open it, I broke the little reception antenna. It was the springs of that cot were about to give literally. No matter how years of spy movies suddenly revealed themselves as maybe. I thought it was better. Maybe. In that moment, I wouldn't. No matter how. Was it really worth it? The winch seemed to be. I could operate it with. There was no. The hook would have never. Better to look at it through the porthole like freedom was close at hand. Normally, portholes don't have a locking mechanism, and more than just. Maybe the problem was with the hinge. And that's why the porthole wasn't opening. The spring that regulated its hinge. I could have slid the rusty spring out of its housing, but without a replacement. It could collapse. I didn't in a corner. I thought it would. One of the last ponies. I remember. No matter how. In a corner.
Vediamo se posso rubare una molla. Là, eccola qui.
New spring perfect. I must have climbed the side of the ship looking. Wait a second. That means maybe with the hook, I would be able to. It wasn't long. The hook was. It wasn't long. That bulb. I wanted them to notice me. That bulb would have to be used where. The hook would be used. There was nothing left to do but pull the hook hard. I heard the clinking of chains coming from outside. Ahmed climbed like a monkey up the side of the. I can almost smell your ode to sewer.
I knew it was you doing that thing with the reflect. How did you move it from a distance?
In a way, I connected the hook of a winch to the.
Your riveting trick, it's no fun anymore.
You're not the first to.
Did you see my spubby up there?
See, the little demon jumped all over.
No. I can't leave this place without.
I can't get out of this place. Period. Give me a hand. something.
What should I do?
Don't you have something you could help me with? I don't know, like pick lock. Or my former pony remote control. Very useful for matters like this. I got it. I'll help you. Look how that little critter came out of its lair. I started to consider that the tiny thing might be helpful. After all, rodents are well known to gnaw. Damn! I really need to lure him into the open. Classic domestic problem. How to capture a little pest that can crawl. Simple answer. It was ideal. I needed a. I didn't understand how that could possibly. Maybe. It was ideal as bait, but first, I needed to come up with something to assure me that trap would trigger when I needed a way to. Clumsy. I thought it was better to. The winch was being powered with that cable. The winch could still. I was all out of. I didn't get out. And that. I thought it was better. I couldn't with the hook low. No matter how the hook would have I was all out of The winch was being. Was it really? Interesting idea. In that moment, that hatch could become. There wasn't an. They were very well sealed, not to mention that attached to one of those crates was an. No matter how. Maybe. Was it really? I could insulate the antenna with tape, but I didn't see any reason why. In that moment, the winch would. The tent was worn and ripped in many places. But can you do anything?
Anything like.
I don't know exactly. Can you look inside?
It seems to be an office. There's a big map hanging on the wall.
Do you think you can sneak inside and take a look?
No, the
I always have to do everything. Where'd you learn to climb so well, kid?
Have you ever tried climbing a filthy and by comparison,
Try not to be. The bulb was very hot. I burned my. I thought it was better to look for another. I didn't understand. I thought it was better to. Maybe. I thought it was better to look. I was all. Sometimes, I could use it to. The winch would. I didn't need it. It was too far. I couldn't. within reach, but I couldn't. That hatch could become my escape route. That hatch. Although I tried with all my might, a high-intensity bow. Picking it up, I burned my hand from the heat. That hatch could... I was all out of... I thought it was better to look... My clumsy lock-picking attempt just managed to break the intent. The winch could still be useful to me, so I didn't want to sabotage it. I thought it was better to look... I didn't understand... One of the last bony seed... I remember one of its selling points was the ability. The uselessness of that function contributed to the failure of the product, but it could help me right at the moment. The player had no intention of opening manually. It was a lamp. Curiously, the two devices were the... I wondered if there was a way to open... I would need help. Curiously, the two... I wondered if there was a way to open the CD player by using the remote control. I would need help. Was it really worth it? It was a lamp. Maybe. I didn't know exactly. I thought it was better to... Maybe. One of the last... I remember one of its uselessness of... I thought it was better... Sometimes... Maybe M could suggest a way to synchronize... M had managed to climb the side of the ship. It's my understanding...
More than you, obviously.
I just found this old-fashioned CD player and realized it's the same. My hope is that I can use the remote control.
But you don't know how to set it.
I don't even know what set it...
If your remote control is universal, it could work. Hold down the function and power buttons together for a few seconds. If you hear a beep, it...
Hey, it really worked. You never cease to surprise me. Try not to... The CD player was open. I was all out of ideas. The CD player was open. A technological rat trap was coming to life in my... I had the trap I needed. That was the best spot for the plan I had. I waited a few seconds. I probably scared it. Gotcha. Little guy. I felt a bit sorry for the rat, but not. I thought it was better to look. The lamp was emitting enough heat to cause the rat to dig down. I just needed to power the bulb. I was close enough to power the bulb, but how could I Maybe it would have been better to take some precaution. The heat of the bulb spread quickly inside. At the beginning, the rat ran around and I realized it could only escape it. Now I just have to... At that moment, the winch was powerless, so it would have been better not to touch it. Better not to touch. Was it really? that moment, the winch was powerless. So it would have been... I could use it to hook the winch to anything that was in... Better not to touch it. The cable was cut. The winch might have been useful to enlarge that hole. Ready for some... No hatch, massive door, or prison. Lazarus Bundy. Hey, Em.
I don't know how you...
Yeah, I can barely contain... Now go back to your dinghy and keep the engines ready.
Thank goodness.
Huh, you're scared.
Not at all. It's just that... It's cold out here.
And now? I found myself in a cabin full of documents. On the table I glimpsed a box containing all my belongings. I intend... The phone started to vibrate as soon as I picked it up. Must have been out. It's not exactly the best time to talk.
I assume you were able to infiltrate the Citlalique.
You.
It's a real pleasure to finally be able to chat.
You son of a...
I prefer you call me Doctor. And why so much? I'm just trying to give your career a little boost.
By kidnapping a girl? I'd rather state
I wouldn't be so sure about that. But we'll talk. I'm dying to know how your investigation's going. So please tell me.
Found it. Haha, of course.
I'm afraid not. And indeed, your situation is not the best. That ship in the main cabin, to be precise. You'll recognize it.
Bastard. This whole thing is just a game to you.
The life of two innocents, as you have surely all. At this point, I'm curious, Lazarus.
Catherine is carrying Radwed's baby, and that I don't understand simulating a kidnapping if the girl was consenting.
That's exactly the point. The girl was mentally reconditioned. Her entire sentimental, even the baby's.
But why? What's so special about that baby to make someone engineer?
Now you're pretending to know too much, Lazarus. But the clock is ticking. One last hint. You have the solution to the hourglass is emptying, Lazarus. See you soon.
I hated admitting it, but the doctor had managed to replace my healthy instinct for... Till that moment, I hadn't learned anything concrete. And the situation was starting to burn at me. But I couldn't achieve it, but...
Hello?
Miss Sharp, I was about to drink my 5th afternoon cognac when I decided...
Lars? Lars, is that you?
Hey, how'd you recognize me?
Has anybody informed you that phones now show...
Mine doesn't.
Your phone dates back to 95, Lars. Wait a minute. You're not on the...
I'm calling you directly.
Are you in danger? Do you need me to...
Well, I've been locked inside a cold, dark cargo hold for a while. Then it's...
Combining random objects or breaking things like you...
After that, I received an interesting phone call.
The doctor? You mean the man you've been hunting for days?
Precisely. It seems he wants to be called that.
We've established that he likes theatrics then.
Only my feelings. This guy doesn't want to kill me, Alice. He's having too much...
He creeps me out. Anyway, you better...
There's a situation I need to tie up first, but I need...
And it's time to use the Bluetooth device I gave you.
Roger.
Loud and clear.
I can't take my mind off the last words of the doctor. What if it was another one of his... Let's get to work. Wait a second, Alice. When the doctor suggested I have the solution in my pocket, maybe it wasn't just in the chest note I found along with Catherine and Radwed's photo. It must mean something, and maybe it...
Seems plausible. Describe...
There are some chest diagrams, a few colored in red and other...
The combination of color and chess could be a movement suggestion. You know how it works, right?
Chess? It always seemed to me a pastime for manic obsessives.
You don't know how wrong you are. Ask if...
On one side of the note, there's also a windrose. That could be a reference to the map in the cabin.
At this point, I'd be surprised.
Okay, let's get... Hang hanging on the wall is...
Describe it to me
It is represented as a map of the entire world, but actually it is missing entire continents, including North America.
If it's missing the more recently discovered continents, it could be traced back to the time...
No, nothing specific.
This doesn't add up. Normally maps like that always display a symbol, the windrose. It should be there.
What if it was removed for some reason?
I think we should follow this lead since we have nothing better. Look for anything that might refer to the windrose.
I have to find something to help me with the map. But what?
Earth calling Lars. We agreed that you'd search for something that refers...
Yeah. My memory has been playing tricks on me ever since Mr. Ray.
Try to find something that relates...
Let's see. A few incomprehensible... Then we have playing cards.
Come on, Lars.
Wait a minute. Here it is. A magnet.
Confirmation.
Device measuring the...
You live in Miami and you don't...
If you can believe it. Okay.
Let me check. Okay, I found a website that, if the map is a reference to the ancient Romans, there's only one...
Rome, obviously.
Wrong. Apparently the Romans were convinced that the origin of the winds wasn't in Rome, but it...
Copy that. It's make or... A knight.
In chess, a knight moves in an L pattern. So 2 squares vertical follow...
A rook.
The rook can move in as many free squares as you want.
Tombola.
What was that metallic clank?
That, my dear, was... Safe is open.
That means its mechanism was just a smoke screen.
But why did the doctor give me suggestions on how to...
Maybe he was feeding the challenge by giving you some hints.
I hope next time he sends a few pistachios. Alice, your steps...
Do something!
It's...
Lars!
Devi bloccare la cosa alla porta. No, non era il tempo di
God, you're such a... They have a cleaning...
You wish.
That.
No.
It was a long and robust... When I was a... I thought it was better to...
Non riesco a
It's
capire
not what it
come.
looks like. It's not what it looks like.
Ma io l'avevo, aspetta.
My beloved bat. How much? Suck on that, Doctor.
What's happening? Are you okay?
I gained some precious seconds, but I've got to move. The safe contained mostly paperwork, bearer bonds, property records, and notarial deeds. But something else caught my attention. It was a small obsidian item that partially reflected my image. All that fuss just to hide a little mirror. And yet, I immediately understood that this wasn't an ordinary mirror. I could sense its power running through my veins. It was like holding something alive.
Lars! Pull yourself together, Lars. You said you have
2 minutes? Damn. I'm hanging up.
to get in.
Ah! Go! After my incursion aboard the Cite La Lique, I knew I should expect another private visit. I wasn't wrong. The same individual that approached me a few hours earlier. Besides, at that point, you have nowhere to go!
Are you sure about that?
Oh mamma. Bene. Oh mamma. Una gran bella corsa. Lungomare di Miami, 15 novembre.
Hey, freshwater sailor. Open your eyes. Come. Rise and shine, little.
So, it all happened for real?
Or are we both dead and this is heaven? Now, if we're finished with the smoke, I have a Slavic witness rambling in an unintelligible language about 2 men beating each other. I am forced to deduce by the
He was a true and proper assault, old man. I was riding around on my...
Don't bullshit me, Bundy. I know very well what you're doing. If I let you do what you want, it's only because of the...
You're not the first one to tell me.
But I'll be the last. I took your badge back, and this time I'll lock it up so tight that the Mulsberg case is hiding more than it seemed in the beginning. I can agree with you on that. You have concealed evidence from the authorities. You scared potential witnesses to death. You alarmed our main suspect.
Alice has nothing to do with this mess. She didn't even know...
It's too late now for Alice Sharp was suspended from her already precarious duties, and for that she'll have to... Goodbye, Bundy.
It was a tough blow. I had nothing to lose, not an Alice. I destroyed a dream nurtured for years. Going home to rest on a real bed seemed like the best idea.
Lars,
Wait.
by the door. You're not used to locking.
I know this might seem like a maniacal habit, but... Alice,
I agree. Or else you could get me out of the situation you've gotten me into rather than wasting your time.
We just have to give it a little time. Then I'll talk to Burton. I'm sure.
You have to face the truth. Burton wants nothing more to do. Let's admit it. We acted on impulse, sought glory.
What happens is that you'll go your way, and I'll go mine. And maybe we'll catch...
What happens is that we roll up our sleeves and we...
You'll find a good workplace, despite everything. Maybe not in law enforcement as you hoped.
Lars? Did you hear what...
Then kids will come, sweet innocent children that will instill in you... But wait a minute, what? Are you serious?
Never been more serious. I heard what happened tonight. If Rodwed came for you in person, it's because...
Did you know I was able to beat him like an omelet against the mailboxes out here?
Did it happen before or after?
There's something wrong with that man. First of all, he lived furthermore, and I saw him age at least 30 years right before... No snarky comments? Is that a
Having reached this stage, I am ready to accept pretty much anything.
Yeah, only that lunatic from Weird Cases believes in aliens.
This individual, and also the doctor, they seem to share a certain taste.
I can't rule it out for sure.
There was no need to ask. What will you do in the...
I should find out what that strange obsidian item was. But during the struggle tonight, I saw something drop down the hole in the floor out here. I'd say that's the top.
Then I'll wait for your progress.
Fine by me.
Don't expect me to...
Ok, ragazzi, ci fermiamo qua per stasera. Abbiamo fatto veramente parecchia strada e a me sta piacendo tantissimo, quindi speriamo bene. Lo continueremo sicuramente la prossima settimana. Domani ci aspetta la serata horror e giocheremo Broken Porcelain della saga Remotered, secondo capitolo anche se staccato dal primo. E niente, vi auguro una buona notte e speriamo di sentirci presto. Buonanotte, ciao ciao.